back to Lush 1, because that was the first clip that I saw. I think you guys were on YouTube Live, wherever you were. I saw you ask him to leave, and depending on how you feel, maybe y'all will work it out later. Do you take accountability in Lush sharing your personal messages with people, or do you still put the majority of that on the fact that he shared those messages?
I mean, just like you said before, like if there's a Joe Budden problem, and this is one of the things I said to him right away. I go, you think when the Joe Budden podcast broke up, you don't think that Joe and Parks had conversations about what was going to happen, quote unquote, behind Rory and Maul's back? I don't really feel like that was like as deceptive as it's being framed. I was just talking to somebody who I thought I had a close friendship with, who I thought had my back in terms of all this. And he not only lied to my face when I confronted him about it, but then he also, he did it in the first place. Like, you're sharing like insider shit with random fucking people that you don't even know on a voice chat room. I mean, this is crazy.
I understand that. And from that, your decision was to fire him on air.
I didn't fire him on air. I just told him to get out of the building on air.
It sounded like a get out and don't come back unless I change my mind, but I won't change my mind type of thing.
That might be fair.
Yeah, that's how it sounded. All right, so what is the chain of events from there? You fire Lush. Is that the first person to leave the company?
Actually, because, well, I mean, yeah, basically, yeah. And then the AD conversation, I think, took place like the next day, in terms of him formally saying that he was going to do his own thing and all that.
Okay, so one staffer leaving you can deal with. So you can deal with the exit of Lush. Then AD comes and says, dog, I'm off it. I can't fuck with it no more. So that's 2 gone, right?
Yeah, and like him and Trell and Doknow were all like kind of a package deal, and I always kind of knew that.
That's 1, 2, 3. So now that's 4 people gone, all in the drop of an eye. Did you
There's one more too. There's this other dude, Smac, that Trell does his show with. And I mean, these guys were all kind of a package deal. So I mean, it was, yeah.
Okay. And all right, so now that's 5. So who else left?
Well, you got to rewind it to like a month or 2 ago when Housephone and this other dude, Blazzy, that he was doing a show with, they left as well.
Why did Housephone and Blazzy leave?
Well, there's part of me that doesn't want to drag up the whole thing, but basically I interviewed a woman, and she basically took that interview as an opportunity to expose Housephone. And then
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Adam, you've been bugging for a second. I forgot all about that. Wait, you interviewed the transgender woman and she outed your man, and you allowed that to happen on camera.
Well, full disclosure, I instructed the editors to edit it out, and one of the mentions of his name still made it in, and that was kind of the end of us doing anything on camera.
Well, you know how many times I ask Parks or somebody to edit something out and they leave it in and the fans know exactly what I'm talking about. Wait, Adam, you have to, I don't hear enough accountability from you in this. You can't have a transgender come on your show and out your man.
Well, I mean, I tried to edit it out, right? The editor fucked up. But yeah, I mean, I do take accountability because it's my fucking company. But, you know, this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. After almost every podcast, or like at least half of the podcast, I'll say to the editor at the end, I'll say, hey, delete this one thing. Delete this awkward question. Delete this one thing that didn't sound right to me. And they always do it. And somehow this one was not so simple.
Okay, you're just talking about the edit getting out. And I'm talking about just this being able to be recorded. That's what I'm saying.
Well, for the record, I didn't know that there was any kind of history between them when I agreed to speak to her.
You didn't know that she was going to come on and do that?
No, and I mean, now people try to say like that I knew because there was like a comment that she had left saying something about him on my Instagram. And I actually asked him right away afterwards, and he just said, nah, like, that she's lying. So I didn't, going into the interview, I didn't think that there was any truth to it, you know?
Adam, what do you say to your coworkers that say you have been power tripping for quite some time? I've seen a few of them say that. One of them went as far as to say that one time you said, yo, I kind of feel like canceling all of these shows.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this, Adam, and why you think that was okay to say.
Well, is that power tripping, or is that, if anything, by canceling all the shows, that would probably be me like giving up power, right?
No.
I think the thing that made me suggest just canceling all the shows altogether, which for the record, I said that during the house phone scandal, was just kind of like the realization that I was slowly starting to have at that point, which I think you might be able to relate to as well, that the whole network idea is a lot to bite off. The idea that you're just going to have all these different people doing podcasts on a network and that you're going to be able to build a business around it. I had a lot more faith in that idea a couple of years ago than I probably do now.
So then what is your future view on your network, and how will you go about running it then, if you feel differently today?
Well, I mean, I'm talking right now to the guy who inspired me to do a podcast where I just talk to the homies every week. So I feel like I also kind of look at what you've been through, and I think a similar conclusion. I thought you were tripping when I first heard you say like that you didn't want to do a network anymore, or that you know, having a bunch of sort of, you know, not random, but kind of random shows on your network that you weren't necessarily super involved with, that you didn't necessarily see that being the future of the business you were running. I think in large part, it's just an issue of size. Like, I think I would rather run a smaller media company that produces less content and is a little bit more focused than what like the last year or two of my life kind of turned into, where it was just like a lot of headaches, a lot of drama. You know, we started to become like fodder for everybody in the fucking podcast community to talk about because there was so much shit playing out on camera. And I don't know, it's like I kind of feel like now I would rather just have like a small crew of people that I could talk to and that work exclusively for No Jumper, rather than trying to, you know, like there were a lot of opportunities to bring even more shows on. And at a certain point, I'm like, I don't even know that as a business we're doing well enough to like be able to like monetize or really incubate like the shows that we have currently. So, I mean, yeah. Okay, what?
I will not allow you content creators to jump back and forth on each side of the fence. One of my favorite things about this space is all you dudes that criticize me at every twist and turn of my journey. Eventually, if you're successful enough, y'all will go through it too. Adam, the last few times we talked, you were telling me that you make all of the money in the universe. You were telling me that your bank account is higher than it's ever been in the world. And now you're sitting there telling me about how you weren't financially profitable.
Well, I'm talking about one very specific part of the business, right?
Adam?
I don't know why you're talking like that, like I'm lying, but Joe, there's a lot of different revenue streams. Some are very good, some are very much not as good, right?
Dog, don't fucking bullshit me. Was No Jumper profitable or not? And was it through the help of all the people that you had on board?
Yeah, of course. No, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into our finances, but basically, like, there were things that were working and there were things that weren't working. And to a certain extent, I just started to feel like the system we had going of like, oh, let's just get a bunch of homies to be hanging out on camera every night on live stream. You know, it's good for some people. It works for a lot of people. AD and Trell, they're doing great for it. But at a certain point with us, it just kind of didn't really seem like that was necessarily the future of where the business was going.
Okay, so then what do you say to the people that say it just looks like you got a whole bunch of black people from the hood to help you during turbulent times, and the second that everything was great and money was up and projections are high, you fucking wanted to kick everybody to the curb so you can pocket more of it for yourself?
Well, I mean, they left. They chose to leave.
ha 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 ha. This guy. Yeah, they chose to leave, but initially this started because you wanted to make changes, and I believe that words have power, and I think that your words are programming, even if it programs you. So I believe that your actions led to the exact result that you may have wanted. What do you say to that?
I wouldn't say the exact result that I wanted, because all I wanted to do was make some small incremental changes, you know, moving AD from one podcast to off and having him do the other stuff. That was what I was trying to accomplish, and did not expect at all that it would turn into this, you know, atomic bomb of everybody peacing out.
So who's on the network right now?
There's a bunch of people. You know, I did my podcast this week with my boy Court, and we had Bootleg Kev sub in. I'm not necessarily sure what we're going to be doing necessarily, but, you know, we still got Poetic Flacco, Almighty Suspect, Gina Views, Sharp,